Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The opening ceremony is about to begin. Please make sure that your microphone is turned off.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dean Faculty of Arts and Humanities, Dr. Muhammad Kurjum,
Head of English Department, Dr. Wahyu Kusumayanti,
Ms. Zulidiana Dwi Rusnalasari from Pusat Studi Publikasi Ilmiah Relawan Jurnal Indonesia of RJ,
Ms. Kenya Alit Sapiti from Universitas Airlangga Surabaya,
Ms. Andini Anugrah Fitria, Ms. Sheila Budi Tania, and Ms. Faikotul Fahria from UIN Sunan Ampel Surabaya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Peace be upon you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen,
It's a great honor for us, Ila Nuria,
and Septian Kurniawan,
to welcome you to the opening ceremony of the National Undergraduate Students Conference held by the English Department UIN Sunan Ampel Surabaya in collaboration with the English Department Student Association UIN Sunan Ampel Surabaya.
Today's student conference features 2 keynote speakers and 3 invited student presenters who will share their theoretical knowledge, research findings, and experiences in linguistics, literature, and language teaching.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will now listen to the reading of the Holy Quran recited by Mr. Muhammad Alif Rafiansyah. Mr. Alif Rafiansyah, time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam.
A'udzu billahi minasy syaithanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Taha ma anzalna 'alaikal qur'ana litashqa illa tadhkiratan liman yakhsha tanzilan mimman khalaqal arda was samawatil ula ar-rahmanu 'alal 'arsyi istawa lahu ma fis samawati wa ma fil ardi wa ma bainahuma wa ma tahtas thara wa in tajhar bil qawli fa innahu ya'lamus sirra wa akhfa Allahu la ilaha illahu lahul asma'ul husna wa hal ataka hadithusa id ra'a naran faqala li ahlihi imkusu inni anastu naran la'alli آتكم منها بقبس أو أجد على النار هدى فلما أتاها نودي يا موسى إني أنا ربك فاخلقنا عليك إنك بالوادي المقدس طوى Shadaqallahul Adzim. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mr. Alif Rafiansyah. I will have the singing of national anthem Indonesia Raya and the hymn of UIN Sunan Ampel Surabaya. To deliver his welcoming speech and officially open the student conference. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Muhammad Purju.
Test. Is it clear my voice?
Yes, Pak Kursi.
Clear my voice?
Recording in progress.
Clear my voice? Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya al-mursalin Sayyidina wa Habibina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. Honorable the head of department, Dr. Wahyu Kusuma Janti, and also the secretary of the Department of English Literature, Handoko, and also my beloved teachers or staff of English department. There is Ms. Tristi, Ms. Dina, and also Bu Sufi Ikrima Saada, and all my beloved students. First of all, I would like to thank to our God, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, who has given us ni'mah and also opportunity to join this program in connection with the students' competency or under title the Conference of Undergraduate Student, and salawat serta salam must be to all Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ladies and gentlemen, in this moment I would like to inform you that as new dean, I have to inform you that there are many programs of our faculty. Those are research collective, yeah. And next time, I hope and I convene to Pak Rector, yeah, that our faculty has many programs in connection with research, especially research in collaborative with the students, yeah, lecture and students and lecture, collaborative among lectures, and also collaborative research among students and many others. And then the second, I would like to give the display, yeah, the display covered that maybe available for the product of the research or product of the students and also lectures writing. Maybe there are some students who have creativity in writing a book on and also writing in many articles for journal and also many others. And we will give the reward for all students who have conducted or produced many articles and also books. Yeah. And the second, I would like to give the reward for the students who have good in IP, IP. What is in English? Final grade. Final grade. Yeah. In every semester. Yeah. We would like to give the reward for the student who have good in grade. Ya. Jadi saya akan memberikan reward setiap semester bagi lulusan yang bukan lulusan ya, bagi mahasiswa yang mempunyai IPK tertinggi, 3 terbaik. Ya, 3 terbaik di setiap semester. Nah, ini mudah-mudahan nanti ada ya otomatis di setiap prodi ya. Yeah, automatically in every department, Department of English and Literature, and Arabic and Literature, and also Indonesian Literature, and also the Department of History and Islamic Civilization. I think these are my ideas, my obsession to be the main program that will be available and along 4 years. Long 4 years. Okay, and I of course I appreciate for this program today, that is the conference for the students that conducted by the English department. And let's recite basmalah together. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Officially, this conference opened. Okay, thank you for your attention. Wallahul muwaffiq ila aqwamit thariq. Wallahul musta'an ila sabilir rahman. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Pak Kurjung, for the speech. Ladies and gentlemen, before we come to our main program, please allow me to welcome Professor Algaul Milal to lead the prayer. Dear Pak Milal, the time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Allahumma ghafir lil mu'minina wal mu'minat wal muslimina wal muslimat al ahya'i minhum wal amwat innaka sami'un qaribun mujibud da'wat. Allahumma arinal haqqo haqqo warzuqna ittiba'ah wa arinal batila batila warzuqna ijtinabah. Rabbana zidna ilma warzuqna fahma. Allahumma anfa'na bima 'allamtana wa 'allimna ma yanfa'una warzuqna ilman yanfa'una. Allahumma inna nas'alukal huda wat-tuqa wal afafa wal ghina. Rabbana hab lana min azwajina wa dhurriyyatina qurrata a'yun waj'alna lil muttaqina imama. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adzabannar. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Before I hand over the program to the moderator, let's have a brief photo session. Miss Tristi, please.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I would like to invite you to turn on your cameras because we're going to have a photo session. And don't forget to put on your best smiles for about an hour or so, because in this national conference, I hope that you will always be happy in order to listen to the presentations today. Okay, there will be 11 slides. I'm going to wait for a brief moment for you to turn on your cameras. Okay, I'm going to start from the first slide. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, this will take a moment to appreciate smiles for a while. I'm going to make it quick. We're still in the 7th slide out of 11 slides. Okay, Alhamdulillah, the photo session is done. Now I would like to give the screen back to the MC.
Ladies and gentlemen, Now is the session we are waiting for. We are fortunate to have prominent experts today. And the moderator will guide us. Moving right along, it is now my pleasure to introduce the moderator. Our plenary today will be guided by Bapak Suhandoko. He earned his bachelor's from STKIP PGRI Jombang. His master was earned from Universitas Negeri Malang. He has been teaching in our beloved UIN Sunan Ampel Surabaya since 2018 until now. His expertise and interests are linguistics and ELT. We would like to invite Pak Suhandoko to guide this main agenda. Please give a big round of applause.
All right, thank you very much, Ila and Septian, for the very nice introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Honorable the Dean of the Faculty of Arts and Humanities, Associate Professor Muhammad Kurjum. Yeah, so this is the first time the Dean of the Faculty of Arts and Humanities come from the English department. Give applause for our department, everybody. It's a very big achievement, yeah. For the first time, English department has the Dean, yeah, from our circle, yeah. Also, Honorable the head of the English department, UIN Sunan Ampel Surabaya, Ibu Associate Professor Wahyu Kusumayanti, and also all the lecturers, the staff, and also my beloved students, and also the presenters on today's National Undergraduate Student Conference 2022. Right, so I am Suhandoko, and I will be your moderator for the next 2 hours in the keynote speech session of the National Undergraduate Students Conference 2002 held by the English Department UIN Sunan Ampel Surabaya. And we are very fortunate that today we have Miss Lydia and Miss Kenya, who will share their expertise, especially in literature and linguistics, respectively. And therefore, I would like to greet our awesome speakers today. Hello, Miss Lydia and Miss Kenya.
Halo, Assalamualaikum Pak Andoko. Good morning, everyone.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullah.
Mr. Handoko and all the audience.
Waalaikumsalam. All right, so how is everything going? Everything is good?
Everything's awesome.
Alhamdulillah, happy to hear that. Okay. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, referring to the agenda today, we'll have first Miss Lydia presenting her paper on literature for about 30 minutes, followed by Miss Kenya on linguistics also for about 30 minutes. And after that, we will have a Q&A session. And before Miss Lydia and Miss Kenya start their presentation, I would like to read the rules first. Zoom bombing, all participants will be sent to the waiting room list and verified by the committees. We strongly recommend the participants using the names with the format name and presentment, and also the moderator, to make the verification easy and quick for the committee. And for asking questions, you will be provided with 2 modes, either by typing questions in the chat box, and your questions should follow the format, the presenter's name. For example, Miss Kenya, if you want to ask a question to Miss Kenya, or Miss Lydia, if you want to ask question to Miss Lydia. So the format is the presenter's name, your name, institution, and the last is your question. You can also use the raise hand button when the moderator invites you to ask questions directly to the speakers in spoken. Right, ladies and gentlemen, now I would like to invite first Miss Zulidiana Dwi Ruslanasari. Okay, before that, I would like to read the short bio of her. Hello, Lydia.
Halo Pak Andoko. So.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Lydia, the Chief of Pusat Studi Publikasi Ilmiah Relawan Jurnal Indonesia or RJI. She earned her bachelor's at the English Department Universitas Erlangga Surabaya and her master's at Universitas Indonesia. She is now pursuing her doctorate degree at Universitas Negeri Surabaya. And today, Ms. Lydia will present her 30-minute talk about icons and values in cultural memory of fairy tales and Disney animated movies. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a very loud applause and welcome Ms. Lydia.
Thank you for the welcoming from Pak Handoko and everyone there. Let me share my screen first before I start. Actually, I'm not talking about my paper only, but this is just a part of several things that I combine from my research since 2017. One of them already, three of them already published, which in almost the same themes. We are talking
Awesome.
about fairy tales. And it's also collaboration with Mem Wahyu and also several of the students in UINSA. Okay, let me share my screen before I start to have my presentation and discussion. I would ask some warm-up question for all of you. Pak Handoko, could you share the link that I've shared to you this morning?
Yes, sure. So please, ladies and gentlemen, open your browser application.
Other devices.
Maybe from your handphone.
Okay, let me share my screen first. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, how about that? Have you seen it?
Yes.
Okay. The code is 74578816. I believe that almost all of the students in this meeting already familiar with this kind of warm up. So I would like you to say only one word. It's only one word, but if you want to be more, it's okay. My requirement is only one word. So I will wait for about 30 seconds. Is it enough?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, let me see how many results. Yeah, the voting, it's okay. Very good, everyone. The result is already appeared. So in this Zoom, it's about 300 something participants. But already in the Zoom is about 200 something, 259. So everyone can join this. Previously, my students which joined my class in the previous semester in classic literature already familiar with this. So it's not new for them because one of the lecture is very eager to talk about Disney and fairy tales. I think 30 seconds is already left. But we have only 55. Give me more. How about reaching 100? And then we move on to the next slide. Okay, I'm still waiting for everyone to join my presentation today. Okay, very good. We have several things here. And the princess is the winner still in the middle. Okay, 17 more seconds, 15. Okay, 80% already join. Okay, the time's up. 6 more seconds. Okay.
3, 2, 1. Closed.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Okay, you heard about Disney, and how about fairy tale? What's it? What is it? Okay, one more question. Okay, now I just start my countdown. It's only 1 minute, so 2 minutes. You know, because my time is 30 minutes, so I need, and my slides are only about 8. I don't need to talk too much, but I need everyone to engage with my presentation before I start. What will we discuss later in my slides? My slide is not really interesting, so this kind of questions would help me to run out my time.
Okay.
Browsers or another device. Okay. And most of the participant, even most of them are Unampel. We have another participant from other university. Yes, Pak Andoko.
Universitas Fajar. We also have from Universitas Raden Mas Surakarta. We also have it from Halu Oleo Kendari. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's really national national
And
undergraduate student conference.
some of them also from Banyuwangi, right? My
Yes,
friends
yeah.
told me that she also sent some of her students. So hello everyone. Maybe your university cannot mentioned by Pandoko. It's okay. Okay, let's move on to my slides. Okay, so as the mention from Pandoko before that, we will talk about fairy tales. Some things that we have already in our mind since in our childhood. We told stories by people around us, probably from our grandmothers, our grandpas, and our parents. They provide me with the stories. Some of them just give us just as it is, without no reason. But this is what is important about cultural studies. When we do something without thinking or we taken for granted, is always something behind, right? Because we are not always criticize everything, but we are trying to realize what we have done so far. So before I started my doctoral degree, I was interested in political cultures, community cultures. Some of my friends already also here. They knew that my focus in research is all some of them was also about counter-terrorisms, ideology, and so on and so forth. But then when I have my doctoral degree, I want my promoter give me some incitement, that we can influence a nations not starting when they are in a student, in a graduate student, but start from early age. So the story that we consume, the movies that we watch, and the other icon that we buy for the merchandise, we decide something. You can see in your cupboard or in your collection what kind of figures, what kind of figures that actually becomes your friends so far. That makes me think more, and we know that fairy tales are adapted, represented, and mediated. It means that it is everywhere. We can see it, and it depends on the culture probably. But here in Indonesia, we have different contexts, especially when we have the internet and the pandemic. Everything's changed. Our pleasures, our consumption, our priority becomes different. So let's go on to the next. before I talk about something heavy, yeah, about theory, I would like to highlight that the theory that you used or the theory that you will employ is always influence how you look at the text. It means actually you can use any kind of theory for any kind of text, actually. But the way you see it should be, yeah, should be guided, of course. And you cannot imply just as it is, but you have to know the data very well, and you know how to use the glasses. The glasses here means the theory that we used to see. Okay, any question? Hold on, yeah, because this is just a warming up for my presentation, because I will use my uh, PowerPoint to continue. I'm just starting. Everyone have a comfortable seat, and if you have any question, as Pak Handoko said, you can drop your question in the chat box. Okay, let me start with my presentation using my PowerPoint. Okay. Hang on. Okay, Pak Handoko, it's okay with the slides? Can you see the
Yes, we can
PowerPoints
see.
already presented?
Yes, we can see it clearly.
Okay. We believe that this is, if I'm not mistaken, this is our first conference, and the students becomes the committee. It's a very good. And for today's agenda, first of all, Pak Handoko already talked about me, so I don't talk much about myself. I'm an editor and researcher and also a lectures from Pusat Studi Publikasi Ilmiah Relawan Jurnal Indonesia. We focus on how the publications word in the world and in Indonesia especially is what's happening, what the trends in the culture of academic publications. So let's talk a little bit about the theories. Everyone's know about Mr. Handoko. Right now, I telling you about this Adorno and Horkheimer. Three. Okay. The movie industry and the representation in society, we see it through the reading, and it becomes the language it is possible to observe. And the most important thing is we see the ideology inside it. Through reading and movie language, we observe them because those images that contain subjectivity or objectivity, or we can see the semiotics, its appropriate area of the analytic and formative character. Okay, let's talk about icon first. As the Beckerman said, there are two types of performance, the iconic and the dialectic, and we have it all in the movies, both of them. The iconic performance celebrates and confirms audience values. So I make a bold here. It means when we see something, it performs by someone in the screen, and it is confirm our values as the audience. We agree with that because they also concentrating and embodying social values and images. Its point being to prove what the audience already believes, because we have the belief, we have the sematas, and we also use all of those to consume, even without we realize that we. So here, I will continue to next slide first before I talk about my data. So as you know that values, I'm sorry, values usually derived and very close for something that we get because we have an effort to have it. We have cost to get the value. If it is we let's say we see from economic things, it went to producing or obtaining. It may be related to the amount of goods or services, and we sacrifice some things to get it. We exchange something to get the values. It's in an economic point of view. But here in the culture value, the cultures hold value which are abstract concepts. This value guide us to decide something. What action are good and bad, and what events might happen in the future, what events that probably not happen in the future. Because in culture value, value is an idea that we get from the culture. The culture here means our society, and it has been given significance by this society or social groups. And even it a little bit someone in the West and we are someone in the East. It depends on our positioning. As we know that value is also a quality of being useful or serving of a purpose, we really have a very broad understanding about this value. But everything has value. Everyone has value. And what we see, it's also valuable or not, it depends ourselves. Like when you are decide to join this Zoom meeting, better than, for example, like you have another occasion, another place, maybe you value this meeting more than those occasions. So this value always, struggle with our decision. So culture value is also, we call it any object or behavior in a society that is thought to have value. Because the cultural value or values in the culture refers to the way that the people in a given culture or society see the world. So the value is also becomes our glasses too, and how they interpret what they see. So when as I explained, for simple explanation about this, when we use the context of modern economics, value describes one of three major characteristics of goods, along with quantity and distribution. Economic is concerned with assigning numerical value to goods and services produced. That's economic. How about us? Us, as a literature students, as researchers, that we see something is always interrelated with others. We see values from myself. I see values from the classes of culture. Okay. And next. So for something to have value, it has to be useful and attractive to people, right? You feel that has value, it means you attracted to, or it is important to, so that you value some things. Okay. Okay. Meanwhile, as my subject is Disney animated movies, though their products have become and very influential and something that unavoidable and most Western children's lives. How about here in Indonesia? All of you already know about Disney because our screen full of them. Even we have our movies also talking about these artifacts, the merchandise. Some even our celebrity have their marriage or the wedding ceremony in Disney parks in Japan, in Singapore, or some ones that already in Singapore, they will stop by to Disneyland to have a picture. It's a symbol that they already there. They already feel the Disney world or something related with Disney. So in Indonesian context, it's very complex because we don't have any Disneyland here, but we see it every day and we know about the stories. We also understand and we love Marvels too, and so on and so forth. But from all of those broad discussion, I choose the only focus things into the audience because the audience is my students and me myself. So to have the scope and limitation, I choose the respondent from my students. So we have you talk about the Disney. Now we talk about the grand theory that I employ. I use the representation. Even some of my colleagues say that representation is a very blur context and concept because it always depends on the researchers. Why it depends on the researcher? Because the researcher decide what inside the object and they decide how to explain it. And because of this kind of freedom, the analysis something is not really deep. That's why in my study, I usually have the cross-check data. So I use the representation to see the objects and I use the reader response to confront, confirm my analysis with the respondents, reader response. So as Stuart Hall, one of the prominent theorists is Stuart Hall, he said that representation is a way of displaying information to show it to the world. It could be art, in which case it an artifact intended to represent something else. So representation, like I said in the first question that I start my presentation, I asked you about Disney. And all of you give me your representations about Disney. Most of you give me Princess Cinderella, and I will show you later after this. And representation also the activity of giving sequence of symbols, or we call it representainment. Okay, because it's part of culture studies. This these theories or this understanding for this kind of study is still developing. So it depends on the researchers. And I have another understanding about representation, is the certain meaning itself, the representative. And the next one is representation, which is means quality. Okay. Representation also to represent something is to give an indication, to create a symbol, or otherwise it encode an object as information. So we do it, we encode the representation. How we encode, that's what we study about. An example would be, for example, like we see painting or sculpture. If we see painting, we see inside the painting, it depicts, for example, like an event. For example, if we see painting, like we see a picture that very emotional for Surabaya's events, and when we become city of hero, a moment when Bung Tomo have his speech, the picture of him represents something happened at that time. It depicts the events. We see it as a process of the war and its process to defend our nation and so on and so forth. So representation is just like that. And the representation of an object or a person, of a structure, etc. by any means, it means that it depends on the highlighted things that we want to discuss. Who will to the highlighter, we ask as the researcher itself. Okay. My time is still gone, Pak Andoko.
Actually, still have about 7 minutes.
Okay, good. So part of this, because representation is part of our circuit of culture, it refers to the culture-specific activities and experiences. So these activities and these experiences that I captured that become my object in my study. Because there we have the negotiation of identity. My students have the negotiating process when they are reading text and watch the movie. And I focus on the consumption. So based on my data, this is the word cloud from my data. I highlighted several dominant terms. I'm not showing you how to analyze, but I will show you how I code my data. I do coding my data. So the dominant term, and so after I analyze the representations about the Disney movies, I have also a representation about the classic text, and I confirm those with this, the student answer, just like we did in our in my first presentation. I asked you about what is Disney and what is fairy tale, but in this Zoom meeting, I asked you and in open-ended, but only one word. I ask you to have only one word. But in my students, as they are my respondents, they have a explanation. They also have the depiction describing events in the past. And the term that is dominant is this. Some of them are in Indonesia because I also make them free to use any kind of language, yeah, Indonesia or English. So from this term then becomes my standpoint to have the comparative studies between my reader response and my analysis in the presentation. That will resulted in what I said in my abstract. It's highly influenced by the influence that what I did with my study before with open-ended question, it's also happens here. It's not really far with the result that I've told you. It's very predictable, but we have to confirm these predictable things with the theory that we use to analyze it. That's all of my presentation, Pak Handoko. I bring back to you as the moderator. Thank you. Is it already run out my time, right?
Okay, thank you very much for the insightful presentation, Ms. Lydia. It's just about on time, yeah, 8:50. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, please hold your questions later, especially those who are raising hand. So you can raise your hand later in the Q&A session. Yeah. Okay. If you want to ask questions, you can just drop your questions on the Zoom chat box, like with the format of presenter's name and followed by your name, institution, and the questions. Okay, so as Ms. Lydia has presented that values are culturally bound concepts. So when you are studying about literature, you are exposed to the values of its time, and accordingly you can understand the people of its time. It's always and expected that when we read or enjoy works of literature, we have a take-home message that we can utilize to improve our lives. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's just hold for questions for later Q&A session. Now, I would like to invite Miss Kenya Alit Saptiti. Hello, Miss Kenya.
Hello, Mr.
Hey.
Handoko.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. Thank you. Quite well. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm fine too. Okay.
Great.
To the host, please, if there is any chat which is irrelevant, especially those coming from the people that is unwanted, you can just remove them from the Zoom meeting. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you can just remove them from the Zoom meeting so that we will have no more people messing up. Yeah, please host and co-host help us to remove those persons who are not expected to come here. There are trespassers here. Yeah, please host and co-host.
Yeah, but they're using our names.
Yeah, but they are using our names. Okay, wait a second.